a crackle. Just the brush of cardboard on old tile. My mother lifts a box from the attic, dust swirling in the slant of morning light. "You always hid treasures," she laughs, opening the lid. Inside, dog-eared papers and one drawing, crayon lines circled in gold and navy, a spiral at the center, figures crowding its edge, their eyes strange, eclipsed. She holds it up, brows knit. This one always gave me chills. I take the paper, cold to my touch. My younger cousin leans against the table, peering closer. "Did you really draw that? Grandma said you'd refuse to use any color but gold for weeks." I nod, tracing the lines, remembering nothing of making it, but all its shapes feel familiar, like a story I almost told myself before sleep. "Why don't we show your teacher?" Mom suggests, something hesitant in her smile. "Maybe she'll know what that circle means." My cousin shivers. "It looks like a maze, but more alive." I force a laugh, fingers trembling. "It's just a picture. Why did I draw so many eyes?" The room hushes at that. I can't explain how urgent, how real the need to finish the spiral always was. Like if I stopped, I'd forget what kept the world safe. Later, in the school office, the teacher's expression goes still. She lays the drawing flat so sunlight pours over the spiral. "Where did you learn this pattern?" she asks softly. "It's like a story my grandmother once told, but she never wrote it down." I shake my head. It was already in my hands, I think. That evening, the family decides, with uneasy smiles but hidden relief, to send the drawing away for experts to see. "It deserves to be understood," Mom whispers, packing it in fresh brown paper. My cousin presses a finger to the edges, voice low. "Promise you'll tell us if you remember more?" I hesitate. A faint hum travels through the paper, barely noticeable, a heartbeat that does not belong to me. As night falls, I sit awake, fingertips tingling where the spiral meets the edge. In bed, I close my eyes and see circles within circles, a faint gold light spinning to the center of everything. Deep in the house, the box sighs as if settling. I sense it even through sleep, a quiet certainty that something long held is reaching out at last, waiting to be found by more than just me. The hum lingers, dry as dusty paper, echoing softly under my door. Some memories stay hidden until the light finds the right angle, and the world around you pauses, just for a moment, to notice what's been waiting in your own hands all along. The long table is polished to a perfect mirror. Reflections of the spiral drawing shimmer under the fluorescent lights, bending next to the fists and clasped hands of the world's top psychologists. There's a clatter of pens, a hint of scorn in one expert's arched eyebrow. Another mysterious child picture. A gray-haired woman sighs. We'll see if the archetype is trauma or just fantasy. Her colleague nods, flipping open a legal pad. The head examiner opens the envelope and slides the drawing into view. Seconds stretch thin. Eyes sharpen, the spiral catches them all. A French analyst swallows audibly, his gaze fixed and glassy. The woman who was eager a moment before leans away, face blanching as if a chill swept under her collar. "Who taught them this sequence?" another mutters, fingers twitching, as her voice cracks around the word sequence. A hush replaces the labored skepticism. The clock overhead ticks louder, louder, until the head examiner's pen slips from his hand and clatters to the floor. I've seen this before. Not here, not like this," he murmurs, voice distant, shocked. Silence thickens as a ripple shivers across the group. No words, no analysis, just a dozen experts, stilled by something older than theory or science. A junior psychologist stands abruptly, chair scraping. Enough! We shouldn't… She can't finish. The head examiner nods, eyes not meeting anyone else's. Session over, he says, voice unsteady. No one objects. They file out, each making uneasy glances at the spiral, now reflected across the polished table like it's multiplying itself. Only after the room empties does the secretary speak, voice barely more than breath. What was it about that drawing? There's no reply, just the echo of the last clock tick, and the spiral glimmering, stubborn and whole, beneath the harsh lights. A single moment, a dozen scholars undone by a child's hand, a drawing that refuses to fit into any textbook. What have you once created or seen that seemed to contain more than anyone else believed was possible? A hush, heavy as fog, hangs in the hallway outside the now empty conference room. None of the experts speak as they step into the corridor. Instead, they move with clipped urgency, sharing uncertain glances without words. The French analyst wipes his brow, still shaken. We don't have language for this, he murmurs almost to himself, pausing with his hand braced against the wall. Outside, the junior psychologist lingers. Dr. Ivanov, she calls softly, reaching for the head examiner. What did you mean? Not here? Not like this? He turns, distracted, eyes focused inward. I saw it once, in a monastery in Georgia, carved in stone. Except, that was centuries old, he whispers, his voice dropping to a hush. Another expert, her bag slung hurriedly over one shoulder, stops by the elevator. That drawing, it felt like an invocation. Why do I still see it behind my eyes? Someone else shakes his head. I can't analyze that. My hands just went numb. Did you feel that? As if we were being measured, not the child. Their voices mingle with tired shoes on tile, each expert wrestling with fear, curiosity, or a flicker of awe none can explain. In the quiet gap, the secretary returns to the room, hesitant, then snaps a photo of the spiral for her records. She freezes as the flash catches the gold lines. Just for a heartbeat, they seem to move, shimmering like a live current across the page. Narration slips in. None can speak of the session with certainty, only a shared sense that they witnessed the edge of knowledge and something far beyond. Each carries an unspoken question as they leave. Have we underestimated what a child's mind can remember, or what it can call back from the deeper currents of time? The drawing remains, centered on the empty table, reflections doubling and bending it under the white glare. Somewhere in the silent air, it feels as if a clock has paused, not ending, just holding its breath, waiting for the next person brave enough to see. A ripple starts quietly, a low buzz threading through campus cafes and late-night talk shows. Within a day, the footage leaks. World-famous psychologists summoned to review a child's strange spiral drawing, leaving the room in silence, tension crackling through every step. Someone posts a grainy clip, chairs scraping, faces drained of color, the drawing's reflection stretching long and bright on the conference table. On the bus ride home, students huddle over their phones. One point at the screen. Have you ever seen anything shake up experts like this? Another, eyes focused, words low, mumbles, I think I've drawn something like that. Around the world, podcasts debate. Did the symbol carry hidden trauma? Was it a test or something more? Reviewers replay the clock's insistent ticking, chasing theories their voices can't quite shape. A busker in Warsaw hums a tune he swears is new, yet can't stop playing when the spiral appears sprayed on a subway pillar. I feel like I remember this pattern from a dream. he tells a listener, fingers twitching at the melody's odd rhythm. On coffee shop tables in Sao Paulo and rooftop gatherings in Seoul, napkins pass hand to hand, each sketch echoing the original spiral, some recreating its gold edge in highlighter or ink. An artist in New York folds a copy into her journal. "Why does it feel so familiar?" she writes online, "like déjà vu from a childhood I never lived." The thread explodes with similar stories. Half memories, chills, strangers claiming the symbol unlocked names or numbers they didn't realize they'd forgotten. A teacher in Istanbul finds two students doodling the design side by side, neither sure why they started. Narration weaves through. What do you do when the experts refuse to name a mystery, and instead, the world begins to chase it? As the drawing multiplies, so do the questions. People sense something waking beneath the surface of memory, a code whispered through generations, reforming where eyes are willing to see. Across the city, rain runs down billboards, one covered in the spiral, its lines blurring, pulsing beneath headlights. In that fleeting wash of light and water, an old feeling returns. Some stories are too big for just one mind to hold. I sit on the edge of my bed, the drawing balanced on my knees, a spiral of gold and navy, the figures watching me with their ink-dark eyes. My fingers tingle as I trace each line. Lately, sleep has become a door. Every night, I wake half-aware, hand outstretched as if sketching in air. My mom notices stains of gold on my palm, even though I haven't touched a crayon in years. Over breakfast, my aunt pours tea and studies me, brow furrowed. "You're quiet lately, but your eyes, they're not the same." I shrug, holding her look for a breath too long. "It's just weird having everyone talk about my drawing." My cousin nudges my elbow, half joking. "Bet you're secretly famous now." Some people online said the spiral is hypnotic. Late afternoon sunlight cuts gold across my bedroom floor, edges tinged with an energy I can't name. I lean into the warmth, eyelids fluttering. A rush of images, my small hands moving on the paper, an old song echoing in the back of my mind. Words just out of reach. Draw for those who've forgotten. Draw so the gate won't close. Each memory is sharper, and behind it a glimmer of fear. Why does it feel like I'm remembering more than myself? I whisper, voice shaky. My little sister leans in, peering at the spiral. It's like a spell, isn't it? Her question lingers, but I have no answer. That night, vivid dreams pin me in place. I walk an endless path, spirals glowing under my feet, hands tracing their shape over and over until they pulse with quiet light. I wake with my fingers curled, gripping the edge of the drawing, the echo of that old, silent call humming all the way to my bones. Narration cuts through the lingering haze. Something has shifted, a thin current beneath the skin, restless and true. My family avoids the drawing now, glancing away as if it knows their secrets too. Each time I catch my own reflection, a flicker of gold edges my eyes, and a strange confidence grows. Steady, uncanny, frightening. Whatever that spiral awakened in me is no longer just story or coincidence. The memory that once haunted me now feels like an invitation. Outside, dusk falls, lamps flickering to life across the street. I stand at the window, palm pressed to the glass. My finger follows the old pattern on the foggy pane, a single patient spiral. The night feels charged, waiting. In the silence that follows, I sense it clearly for the first time. The drawing is not simply a memory. It is a door I'm being asked to open. A sense of restless energy spreads through the house as I search for answers. My cousin scrolls news on his phone, brows drawn. Is it true? He asks, turning the screen to me. Headlines flash, forbidden spiral linked to ancient scripts, found worldwide. In my inbox, a message from a Turkish linguist stands out. The subject, Your Drawing and the Lost Anatolian Patterns. I open it, breath held. We believe your symbol is close to a pre-Sumerian design, he writes, attaching photos of weathered stones etched with familiar spirals and figures. We use them in trance rituals, to protect, to bridge worlds. But until now, no one has recreated them exactly. Certainly not a child. Blinking, I watch as more emails fill in, one from Peru, a shaman sharing images of lines marked in salt during ceremonies for healing and safe passage. In our traditions, he writes, dreamers trace this pattern to call guidance or warn against crossing too soon. At school, my teacher sets a printout of my spiral beside an old scroll found in a local archive. The lines nearly overlay. Did these symbols speak to you? She asks, voice gentle, as if she almost hopes for a magical answer. They just happened, I reply, feeling both honesty and doubt. Every time I finished, it felt like I remembered more than I forgot. A classmate looks over, eyes wide. You made my grandma's talisman, she blurts. She keeps one under her pillow, says it keeps the bad spirits away. Day by day, news spreads. Villages in Turkey decorating doors with blue and gold spirals. Musicians in West Africa playing the Circle Children song on kalimbas as the symbol appears in dance. Sami elders kindling green fires and painting snow with soft curves linked to dawn and return. Each tradition reshapes the mark. A necklace here, an archway there, a tattoo hidden on an old healer's wrist. A podcaster in Canada remarks, is it protection, prophecy, or warning? And who does it serve? Back home, my mom finds a journal in the attic, my great-grandmother's. She drew this too, my mother says, shocked, flicking through page after page of spirals. But she would never talk about it. Only said some walls remember the first stories. I hold the book, the drawing, and feel a strange certainty. I am not the first, and I won't be the last. Just before midnight, I light a candle. Salt lines glow faint crimson next to the paper, shimmering where the flame bends low. I whisper a thank you, old words in a tongue I thought only I had dreamed. For a moment, the spiral pulses on the page, warm as the breath of someone close. And I know, somewhere far away, someone else is waking to the same pattern. The world, it seems, is remembering together, one mark at a time. Have you ever seen a symbol that made you feel watched or protected? Share your experience below. A white noise hums as I enter the lab, the spiral drawing secured beneath glass. Bright monitors blink in rhythm across the walls. A scientist at the controls gestures for quiet, nodding to a group circling the table. Psychics with beads in hand, neuroscientists watching monitors, and skeptics folding their arms, ready to debunk. Let's begin, the lead researcher says, flipping the cover from the drawing. Immediately, the psychic narrows her eyes, breath catching. There's a language, she murmurs, fingers tracing symbols only she can see. Her companion, a second psychic, goes rigid, whispering what sounds like an old prayer. Do you hear that name? He asks, voice trembling. Something unlocked. A skeptical academic scoffs, rolling his eyes. Nothing but suggestions. But then, as electrodes hum against my scalp, the room's air shifts. The monitors display brainwaves, spikes, unfamiliar and wild, pulsing just as the spiral is revealed. "Those aren't normal," the neuroscientist mutters, jotting frenetic notes. "Look at the left temporal. What's causing the surge?" The technician blinks. "The AI's stuck," she announces. Screens flash red as the algorithm analyzing the pattern freezes, then reboots, unable to classify the image at all. Ozone stings the air. For a heartbeat, the spiral's gold ink seems to flicker blue under the fluorescent lights. Even the loudest skeptic falls silent. Another scientist records the psychic's trance, voice searching. It's like ancestral memory. The psychic nods without opening her eyes. It's older than language, older than our country. The skeptics glance at each other. One bites his nail, the other clears his throat, shaken but masking it. "Probably a coincidence," he mutters, but doesn't finish his note. At the far bench, the technician flexes her hand, frowning. "Every time we scan it, it feels like the room gets colder, then lighter. Is that in our heads?" The neuroscientist shakes her head. "It's not just you. The sensors recorded it." When the test ends, everyone sits back, uneasy. "What now?" someone asks. The psychic answers first, smiles gently but sad. "If old things wake, it's not always for danger. Sometimes it just means someone's listening, for the first time in a very long while." A hush lingers as machines wind down. The sunlight through the blinds glows sharper, blue and gold bending together on the polished floor. The spiral drawing rests in the center, utterly silent, but nothing in the room feels quite the same. Night falls across continents, but the spiral only grows brighter. In southern China, villagers press painted stones into river mud, each circling a symbol that's both old and suddenly everywhere. An elder lights incense, muttering guidance, a story of the watchful eye that returns. In Mali, a griot sits by the fire, plucking a string, singing of the circle children who reappear when the world needs caution and courage. Around her, children trace spirals in the dust, each one slightly different, each invoked with a new hope or fear. High in Lapland, Sami elders pile pine branches by emerald flames, painting green swirls into the snow. "We've seen this before," one murmurs, touching his grandchild's shoulder. "It protects, and it reminds us." Night and day turn together. In a cramped Tokyo apartment, college student embroiders the motif into her scarf, explaining, "It feels safer when I wear it." My grandmother smiled. She said her own scarf had the mark before the war. Each culture bends the motif to their need, as shield on a child's backpack, a secret drawn on a guardian's palm, or in ritual mirrors. In Nigeria, hidden shrines echo with candlelight, a healer painting the spiral onto doorposts as a blessing against sickness and sorrow. In Peru's mountain villages, the sign appears on the lintels of houses in blue dye. Each home guarded, each resident blessed, each morning before work. A Lakota elder in the Dakotas weaves the spiral into a ceremonial cloak, its thread bright ochre against buckskin, matching dream symbols whispered by children the night before. "It is welcoming, but not finished," she tells the curious, "for the story changes when it crosses each new heart." News anchors in Berlin and Buenos Aires try to summarize the spread, showing how the symbol unites and changes. Some call it a warning, others see only comfort in its return. Underground, subway artists print spirals onto stanchions. In Nairobi markets, clay pendants sell out in hours. Again and again, the spiral adapts, offering protection, acting as an invitation, reshaping how people gather and face turmoil, each time a new twist or shade to fit what the world feels it needs most. At the crossroads of old and new, teachers lead a ritual in a Sydney plaza, drawing a spiral with sand and bone beads as the city's dusk folds in. It's a call to listen, to gather not just in fear, but for the courage nestled inside old marks reclaimed anew. And at home, the original artist, changed, watching, remembering, feels the living energy in every echo. The spiral's reach is not in how often it's copied, but in the whispered promise carried wherever it goes, that every mark is an act of hope and vigilance, guarded, offered, shared one circle at a time. Night settles deep as I lie in bed, the spiral sketch resting on my chest. My eyelids grow heavy, but across the darkness, gold-blue swirls bloom behind my eyes, brighter and wider than before. I slip under, the dream rising thick and real. I'm walking a long corridor lit by shifting candlelight. The walls lined with drawings, sketches, etchings of the spiral, all in different hands, ages, languages. Faces flicker in and out, some sad, some joyous, some just curious, all watching as I pass. Their eyes catch the light. Deep, reflecting a storm of memory, my pulse quickens. These are the ones who've drawn the mark before me, across centuries, cultures, childhoods. Their presence feels weightless and solid at once. A hush rides the dream. My feet move forward to the corridor's end, where a doorway opens into a field beneath night stars, impossibly bright, a silver river winding through grass. A tall figure waits, cloak shimmering with blue glyphs spinning slowly on their palm. Their voice pulses, like music and thunder at once, yet as gentle as breath. So you have come. You are not the first, nor the last. Do you know why the circle led you here? I look down. The spiral on the ground pulses in rhythm with my heart. I don't know, I answer, but it's called to me all my life. The figure tilts their head, eyes glittering. This mark asks everything. Carry its power, and you inherit not just protection, but warning, responsibility for every dreamer who came before, and every guardian who may follow. The air shivers. You do not have to claim it. You can turn away. Let the mark lie dormant until another hand awakens. A string of images flashes, families drawing circles in sand, elders marking talismans, healers lighting candles before danger. There's weight and urgency, but also limitless comfort in these small acts. My fingers reach for the blue glyph on the figure's palm. If I refuse, does someone else lose hope? I whisper. Their hand hovers near mine, warmth radiating through the drift. You may claim the burden and shape it with your own kindness, or you may let the spiral sleep and trust that another soul will answer when the time is true. They pause, light catching on their cheek, giving a brief glimpse of a familiar child beneath the mask. What wakes you tonight is not a curse, but a door waiting for courage. I stand at the threshold, dream and waking balanced. Then let me carry it, I say. I reach for the glyph. Its blue threads slip over my skin, not branding but blending. All at once, I feel the breath of every person in the corridor, past, present, perhaps future, and no. I am part of a chain, but the next link begins with my choice. The field blurs. The dream thins as dawn glows at the window. I stir awake, palm tingling, the spiral still glowing faintly in the dim room. Was the messenger real, or just memory finding shape? The old question lingers. What would you do if a mark called you to guard the boundary for the world? Imagine meeting a symbol in your dreams. Would you claim it, or let it go? Tell us after the story. Dawn creeps in under the curtains, the world slow to wake, but already something in the air feels different. My eyes open, and for a moment, I wonder if last night's dream lingers out where others can see. But as I walk down the stairs for breakfast, it's the news and phones and humming streets outside that tell me. The spiral is everywhere. A video flashes across the screen. Children on 3 continents draw the same looping pattern in schoolyards, some on chalkboards, others in the dust with sticks. A grandmother in Morocco weaves it into her bread before baking, pausing to whisper a prayer. "I haven't made this mark since I was a little girl," she laughs, "but my grandson drew it in his sleep." In Brazil, a fire dancer spins, the spiral shape traced with blue flame in the night air, his crowd chanting without knowing why. At our table, my cousin nudges the open laptop. "Look, they say kids in Alaska, Japan, Nigeria, everywhere, just started to draw it. No one asked them." His voice trembles, excitement and worry share space. My mother leans in, watching a live stream from a hospital. There, nurses wheel a boy who drew the symbol on his chest before surgery. He squeezes a pendant, grinning. "It makes me brave," he declares. And every doctor in the room, tough, tired, pauses, the moment held with fragile awe. A news anchor stumbles over the story. Spiral sightings, once explained as coincidence, now spread with no clear origin. Psychologists report unexpected bursts of empathy and courage in those who see or touch the symbol. Some families say grudges broke after decades, old friends reunited after a chance sighting. Scientists at a monitoring lab in India blink at the screen. Brainwave studies reveal spikes in intuition. It's like something wakes up in the mind, like we're all tuning to the same channel for once. A researcher mutters, still shaking her head at the blueprint glowing faint on her notepad. Narration stirs with wonder. At candlelit altars, flames blue as sky flicker strongest where the spiral is placed. Forgiveness, courage, and gentle laughter fill rooms where fear once hung heavy. Old wounds close, new hope rises. The energy of the world changing not with noise, but with a symbol no one fully explains. In the golden hush before noon, I pass a playground. 2 elders trace the pattern on a wall, smiling as children mirror the motion. All around, the world listens, open, cautious, amazed, as if waiting for one more answer or the next question. The mark given in dreams is not just mine anymore. It has become a shared song, sometimes longing, sometimes joy, always resilience, as thousands greet each other across the street or through a screen with a single looping line traced in the air. And as I step outside into the new light, the drawing shining in my palm, I realize the true awakening isn't what changes in me alone, but what we dare to hope for, together. A circle gathers, a quiet gathering unlike any before. In a meditative hall lit by late afternoon sunlight, dreamers, healers, and those who once doubted, now silent and watchful, form a ring. Spirals drawn in chalk and ribbon encircle the floor, lines curving between scattered tokens. A wooden staff wrapped in fabrics from distant lands, sand painted with concentric shapes at their feet. I step in, clutching the drawing, creased, gold-edged lines, bright as new. A Lakota healer smiles softly, her braid heavy with beads. "You found the mark first, but you're not alone now," she says, voice steady. The Sufi elder bows, eyes crinkling as he fingers a woven band. Each of us saw a sign, or dreamed courage the night the spiral called. He glances around the circle, meeting every gaze. A young scientist stands awkwardly, scratching her wrist where the sign glows faint under her sleeve. I ran from this, she confesses. Tried to prove it was random, nothing but a suggestion. But, she draws a deep breath. I saw my own family's history change when the pattern reached them. A skeptic turned friend shakes his head, laughter and wonder in his tone. My whole life I looked for the chance to believe. Turns out the world had to turn upside down. He hands me a slip of ribbon, the color of dusk. It's easier with many hands. None of us owns the spiral alone. We take turns, speaking aloud what the mark means. Healing, luck, warning, chants. An elder chants a prayer and finish. Another weaves a fable into the sand, each story layering more meaning onto what brought us here. The circle swells with memory, some joyful, some full of ache. A healer presses a mosaic amulet into my palm, her fingers warm and sure. Some burdens start as wounds, she says, but grow lighter with sharing. I look at their faces, seeing my own doubt mirrored, my hope reflected back brighter. Should we hide this? Guard it against fear? One asks, voice trembling. The answer ripples around. Hiding never worked for long. Telling may change the world again. Or maybe, I offer, we gather sometimes, so those who are called can arrive on their own, ready for what the story asks of them. The council agrees, debate dissolving into quiet resolve. Some will teach the spiral as myth and ritual. Others keep it gentle and secret for the next lone dreamer. All agree. The real power was not in the line itself, but in the hands and hearts changed by drawing it. The staff comes to me, draped in every color, and I lay my palm atop it. Sand swirls gentle beneath us, chalk lingering underfoot. A pact of silence, of trust, of transformation. No verdict spoken, but a new pattern set. Circles within circles, never breaking, only widening. And as the meeting fades and voices soften, I catch the familiar hum, the same as when a box lid first lifted, when memory pressed gold into my hands, when a world paused just to listen. Some transformations are private. Some belong to everyone who stands at the shifting edge. Here, the circle of keepers finds both burden and blessing in the mystery drawn not once, but together. The light in the hall dims as new figures assemble. Linguists, coders, and elders from distant places, all drawn by the spiral's lingering question. Laptops flicker with ancient scripts and modern code. The scientist leans forward, fingers poised above the keys. If this is more than a symbol, it must mean something in both memory and logic, she says, pulling the spiral's image onto the screen. A Brazilian linguist compares the curves to indigenous chants. Her notes overlap with scrolling Anatolian glyphs beamed in from Turkey. Nearby, a Finnish elder reviews stories of midnight wanderers traced on reindeer skin, tales of crossing thresholds, being led home by a double-lined spiral drawn in ash. The Sufi elder from the council closes his eyes, humming softly. Sometimes, a mark carries a word, but sometimes it holds only a promise. An AI program runs simulation after simulation, each one attempting to root the spiral in language. On the fourth try, the system halts, refusing to classify in the usual code. Instead, it outputs a string of transliterations and, beneath it, a single decipherable phrase. Watchers between worlds, protectors at the hour of change. The linguist breathes out, relief and awe mingling in one sound. It's a blessing for travelers and for those chosen to stand guard when the world turns. As the meaning lands, an elder reads the words aloud in his tongue. Smoke from an offering bowl curls upward, forming the spiral in air above the monitor. just for an instant, then gone. You didn't just invent this, the scientist notes, wondering, lighting her eyes. That pattern's been spoken for centuries, in hundreds of ways. You are a channel. I stare at the message on the screen, its curves mirrored in the original drawing by my side. For the first time, doubt is replaced by a quiet pride. The spiral wasn't meant to frighten. It called us to remember, to guard, and to carry one another through the mysteries ahead. As the group builds a new archive, code, chant, legend, and art stitched together, they pause to let the incense settle. A sense of arrival fills the room. The mark's secret was never just in its form, but in how it made strangers kin, storytellers guardians, and each seeker a part of an unbroken story. A soft fire circles our feet, logs burning low as dusk edges the field. Around me, the council is gathered, marked ones, dreamers, healers, each clutching their version of the spiral. A staff wrapped in ribbon, a pendant pressed to skin, a line inked faint on the wrist. I glance down at my palm, the spiral alive, pulsing warmer with each question passed around the ring. A Sufi elder looks at the group. What shall we do? The whole world watches, some with fear, some with longing. If we teach the mark, we may call too much power. If we hide it, will hope dim for those that need it? He pauses, firelight deepening the lines on his cheeks. A Lakota healer lifts her amulet, voice gentle but strong. Sometimes the gifts we carry must change us before they change the world. My people kept the buffalo song secret until famine forced us to share. Both ways brought blessing and sorrow. Next, the scientist, sleeves rolled high, speaks quickly. Knowledge spreads, whether we like it or not. We can't unsee what's found, but we can set patterns, rituals, ways for seekers to approach safely. Debate swells, everyone's conviction sincere, stakes felt in every careful word. It is not ours alone, the skeptic says, laying his spiral-marked ribbon into the fire. Let the story breathe. Hide nothing, but do not shout. Let those who seek come forward. Finally, all eyes turn to me. I weigh the silence. I feel a choice humming at the spiral's core, a need to honor what's old, protect what could be dangerous, but also welcome the next keeper. I found my voice. Let's gather once a cycle, share the story, teach the careful hope the spiral asks for. We need not reveal everything, but we shouldn't bury the mark either. Let it move through those who are ready. Let ritual be the door, not the lock. One by one, hands release drawings and ribbons into the night air, carried on a gentle wind, paper fluttering over the grass, firelight dancing on every upturned face. The council nods, resolving mingling with relief. A path of sharing chosen, not for glory, but so the spiral transforms each who follows. As the flames die down, the circle lifts their gazes to the stars. Here, by fire and shadow, a new pact is made, not to own or conceal the ancient mark, but to shepherd it, slowly, as both burden and guide. I press the drawing to my chest. At my side, the healer murmurs, "May it change you first, and may those you teach find courage in the story, not just the sign." What would you do? Share your gifts, protect them, or let them change you first? Comment and join the circle. It begins slowly, 1,000 new stories blooming where the spiral's shadow once felt heavy. In a plaza in Mexico City, children giggle as they skip between lines traced in chalk, each spiral broad and sure. A street artist lifts his sleeve, revealing fresh ink, gold and blue threads winding in an open knot above his wrist. "My grandmother had the dream too," he whispers, painting a new mural, She told me to trust the mark if it found me. In South Africa, elders meet travelers at dusty crossroads. One woman dips her thumb in dye, pressing a swirl onto a stranger's palm as a gentle blessing. "It isn't the sign alone, child," she says, her grin wide. "It's the promise you keep when you walk onward, never alone." In Istanbul, a teacher weaves the motif into every lullaby her class sings. We share so little across borders, but this one, it's ours now, and somehow, it's for all of us. Narration lingers, soft. Ritual changes hands, generations, continents. Some keep the spiral quiet, a ribbon tied round a doorknob, a mosaic hidden in school tiles. For others, it's sung from market carts, tattooed on arms for luck before a journey. Each soul who takes up the mark, artist, teacher, healer, skeptic, adds new brightness, a willingness to meet wonder with both caution and hope. At home, I watch the world from my own window, unchanged in so many ways, yet pulsing with a possibility I can't quite name. My family is softer, more curious. My friends joke about spirals in the soup, but their eyes are lighter, carrying less fear of what's unknown. I catch my little sister pressing a marker spiral onto her backpack. "It's just a drawing," she laughs, then hesitates, as if feeling the weight of history in her hands. Elders whisper a prayer with each journey. Kids tumble through chalk circles. Some barely notice the change, but others linger, sensing a story not just inherited, but alive, still writing itself with every careful step and generous act. For the world, the spiral becomes not only a mark of warning or shielding, but a true invitation, a signal that every new beginning is guarded by those brave enough to believe. And for me, it's a quiet guide, each day, reminding me, what we doodle, sing, and dream might be what carries all of us safely home. Evening settles with a hush. The original spiral drawing, edges worn from so many hands, rests sealed in a quiet room, sunlight falling across the walls, dust swirling in a silent current. Sometimes a caretaker visits, unlocking the drawer to check that everything remains undisturbed. Voices drift by, tourists, old friends, children, all guessing what's hidden, never quite knowing. I stand at the threshold, one hand pressed to the wood. The mark's memory tingles in my palm, a soft echo of every story that shaped me. Across the world, its spark lives on, in blessings pressed to a traveler's shoulder, in lullabies sung before sleep, in the boldness to trust the next stranger who traces a familiar curve. Outside, a child hums, an old melody, wordless but bright. Her breath stirs a blue candle's flame, which gutters, flickers, then finally blows out. In that moment, the air carries a secret promise. Not every mystery is meant to be solved, nor every gift explained. Some signs are meant to wait, passing quietly from hand to hand, shaping lives in ways no one may ever notice. So the drawing lingers, present yet unseen. It grows with every risk taken, every act of kindness unknown, in every heart willing to listen for the silence where courage is born. If you felt a calling in these lines, subscribe for more journeys into the unknown. What memory or symbol has changed your path, without you knowing, until now?